The story of Christ the Redeemer begins long before the first piece of stone was ever laid. It starts not with a grand design, but with a quiet suggestion. In the mid-1850s, a Catholic priest named Pedro Maria Bosch stood atop the magnificent Mount Corcovado. This mountain, a granite peak rising sharply from the heart of Rio de Janeiro, offered a breathtaking view of the city below. Father Bosch, a Vincentian priest, was so moved by the natural beauty that he imagined a great Christian monument standing there. He believed such a monument would be a fitting tribute to both God and the Brazilian monarchy. He proposed his idea to Princess Isabel, the daughter of Emperor Pedro II and the regent of Brazil at the time. The priest envisioned a large cross, or a religious statue that would watch over the city. Princess Isabel was a devout woman and was said to be interested in the concept. However, a project of this scale required immense resources and political will. The idea was floated, it was discussed, but the timing was not right. The dream remained just that, a whisper of an idea, a vision waiting for its moment to be born into reality. The political landscape of Brazil was about to change dramatically, pushing the priest's dream even further into the background. In 1889, Brazil underwent a monumental shift. The monarchy was overthrown, and the country became a republic. With this change came the formal separation of church and state. A government that was now officially secular had no interest in funding a massive religious monument. The grand idea for a statue on Corcovado seemed destined to be forgotten, a footnote in the history of a bygone era. For decades, the peak of Corcovado remained untouched. The Corcovado Rack Railway, which had opened in 1884, would carry visitors to the summit to marvel at the view. But the great Christian symbol that Father Bosch had imagined was absent. The dream lay dormant, waiting for a new generation to rediscover it. The seed had been planted in the 19th century, but it would take the social and cultural currents of the 20th century to make it grow into the colossal figure we know today. After the First World War, the world was changing, and so was Brazil. In the early 1920s, a group within the Catholic circle of Rio de Janeiro began to feel a sense of unease. They perceived a growing godlessness in society and feared that the nation was losing its moral compass. They believed that a powerful, visible symbol of faith was needed to inspire the people and reclaim the nation's Christian identity. The old idea of a monument on Mount Corcovado was resurrected, this time with a renewed sense of urgency and purpose. This was not a project to be funded by the state. Instead, the Catholic Circle launched a nationwide campaign to raise money from the public. They called it Semana do Monumento, or Monument Week. They appealed directly to the people of Brazil, asking for donations to build a statue that would belong to everyone. The response was extraordinary. People from all walks of life, from the wealthy to the working class, contributed what they could. It was a true community effort, a testament to the deep-seated faith of the Brazilian people. The design of the statue became a subject of great debate. The initial proposals were quite different from the final result. One idea was for a large bronze statue of Christ holding a globe and a cross, which some locals humorously nicknamed Christ with a balloon. Another showed a more traditional cross. However, a new vision emerged that captured the imagination of the organizers. The idea was to depict Christ with his arms wide open. This design was simple, powerful, and deeply symbolic. It transformed the statue from a mere religious icon into a gesture of universal welcome and peace. The open-arm design was chosen. It represented Christ embracing the city of Rio de Janeiro, and by extension, the entire world. This was not a figure of judgment, but one of love, compassion, and redemption. The choice reflected a desire for a symbol that was both uniquely Brazilian and universally understood. With the design settled and the funds being raised by the public, The impossible dream of placing a giant statue on a mountain peak began to look like a real possibility. The nation had answered the call. Building such a colossal statue on a remote mountain peak was a task that no single person could accomplish. It required a team of brilliant minds from different countries, each bringing their unique expertise to the project. The primary responsibility for the project fell to a Brazilian engineer named Heitor da Silva Costa. He was the winner of the design competition and the chief architect of the entire endeavor. It was his vision and persistence that guided the project from a simple drawing to a towering reality, a task that would consume nearly a decade of his life. While da Silva Costa was the overall leader, he knew he needed a master sculptor to give the statue its artistic form. He traveled to Europe and found the perfect partner in the French sculptor Paul Landowski. Working in his studio in France, Landowski meticulously crafted the statue's head and hands in clay on a full-scale model. These pieces were then shipped to Brazil in sections. Landowski's contribution gave the statue its graceful lines and its serene Art Deco expression, blending divinity with a distinctly modern aesthetic style. However, the statue's beautiful exterior needed a strong and durable core. A concrete statue of this size, with its arms outstretched, would be vulnerable to the powerful winds and weather on Corcovado. This is where another Frenchman, the brilliant structural engineer Albert Caquot, came in. Caquot was a pioneer in reinforced concrete. He designed the ingenious internal framework that would support the entire structure. His design was a skeleton of concrete pillars and beams, strong enough to hold the statue together, yet light enough to be built on the mountain. This international collaboration was the key to the project's success. Da Silva Costa, the Brazilian visionary, Landowski, the French artist, and Caquot, the French engineering genius, formed a trio of talent that transcended national borders. They communicated through letters and drawings, solving complex problems from thousands of miles apart. Their teamwork proved that a monumental undertaking, driven by a shared goal, could bring together the best of human ingenuity from across the world. The statue was becoming a symbol of unity even before it was built. The chosen location for Christ the Redeemer was both its greatest asset and its most formidable challenge. Mount Corcovado stands 710 meters, or about 2,330 feet, straight up from the surrounding city. The summit is a narrow, rocky perch with very little flat ground. In the 1920s, there were no roads to the top suitable for heavy construction vehicles. There were no cranes, no helicopters, and no modern machinery that could easily lift tons of material to such a height. Building the statue there seemed, to many, to be completely impossible. Every single piece of equipment and every bag of cement had to be hauled up the mountain. The primary means of transport was the small Corcovado Rack Railway, a train originally built for tourists. This little train, which climbs the mountain on a cogwheel system, was repurposed into a construction workhorse. It bravely carried workers, tools, sand and steel beams up the steep incline, piece by piece. It was a slow, painstaking process. What the train could not carry had to be brought up by hand by the dedicated workers. The workers themselves faced incredible dangers every single day. They toiled on a small platform at the summit, surrounded by steep drop-offs on all sides. They worked without modern safety harnesses or equipment, relying on simple scaffolding made of wood and steel pipes. They were exposed to the elements, the baking sun, sudden rainstorms, and the constant threat of high winds. Lightning was also a frequent danger. It is a testament to the skill and courage of these workers that not a single life was lost due to an accident during the entire construction period. This was a feat of human endurance and ingenuity. The project required meticulous planning and a great deal of bravery. The engineers and workers had to invent solutions as they went along, adapting their methods to the harsh and unforgiving environment of the mountain. They were not just building a statue, they were conquering a mountain. The very act of construction became a powerful story in itself, a story of overcoming seemingly insurmountable obstacles through sheer determination and faith. Christ the Redeemer is a true giant, a marvel of engineering and scale. The statue itself stands 30 meters tall, which is about the height of a 10-story building. It rests on an 8-meter-tall pedestal, bringing its total height to 38 meters. The arms stretch out an incredible 28 meters from fingertip to fingertip. To put that into perspective, you could park several cars along the length of its outstretched arms. The sheer size of the statue is designed to be awe-inspiring, visible from almost anywhere in the city of Rio de Janeiro. The primary material used for the statue is reinforced concrete. This was a relatively new and innovative material at the time, and its use on this scale was, honestly, pretty groundbreaking. The French engineer Albert Caquot designed a strong internal frame, a sort of concrete skeleton, to support the massive structure. This framework consists of a central pillar and several intersecting beams that extend into the arms and head. This internal structure is what gives the statue its strength to withstand the strong winds and harsh weather conditions on the mountaintop. The entire statue weighs approximately 1,145 tons. Getting all this material to the summit was a monumental task. The Corcovado Rack Railway was the lifeline of the project. It made hundreds of trips up the steep mountain, carrying bags of cement, sand, water, and steel rods for the reinforcement. The process was slow and methodical. Once at the summit, the concrete had to be mixed on site and then hoisted into wooden molds that shaped the different parts of the statue. It was a delicate and physically demanding process, all performed on a tiny, precarious construction site high above the city. The final layer of the statue is not concrete at all. The exterior is covered in a mosaic of small, triangular tiles made of soapstone. This material was chosen for its durability and its beautiful, pale color. It is resistant to the extreme weather and gives the statue a soft, shimmering appearance that changes with the light. The choice of soapstone was a stroke of genius, providing both protection and a unique aesthetic beauty. It is this outer skin that gives Christ the Redeemer its iconic and gentle look. While millions of people admire the statue from the outside, few are aware of the secrets hidden within its massive concrete form. The interior of Christ the Redeemer is not a solid block of concrete. Actually, it's mostly hollow, containing this intricate network of concrete beams and pillars that form its skeleton. A narrow and steep staircase winds its way up through the body of the statue, and this staircase allows maintenance workers to access different levels, all the way up to the head and out onto the arms for inspections and repairs. One of the most surprising secrets is located in the base of the statue. Tucked away inside the 8-meter-tall pedestal is a small chapel. It's dedicated to Our Lady of Aparecida, the patron saint of Brazil. This chapel is a quiet, sacred space, capable of holding a small number of worshippers. In 2006, on the statue's 75th anniversary, the chapel was consecrated, meaning that baptisms and even weddings can now take place at the feet of the giant statue. Imagine being married inside one of the new 7 wonders of the world. Another crucial, yet hidden feature is the statue's lightning protection system. Due to its height and location on a mountain peak, Christ the Redeemer is a natural target for lightning. It is struck, on average, several times every year. To protect it, a sophisticated system of lightning rods is embedded in the statue's head, shoulders, and arms. These rods act like a crown of thorns, attracting the electrical charge and safely directing it through a network of cables down into the ground. This system is essential for preserving the statue from damage. Finally, there is a secret hidden in plain sight, on the very skin of the statue. The thousands of small soapstone tiles that cover the exterior were part of the community effort. Before the tiles were placed on the statue, volunteers from the community, mostly women, would write messages on the back of them. They wrote their names, prayers, or dedications to loved ones. This means the statue is literally covered in the hopes and prayers of the people who helped build it. It's a beautiful, hidden testament to the faith and devotion that brought this monument to life. After nearly a decade of tireless work, the moment finally arrived to unveil the magnificent statue to the world. The inauguration was set for October 12, 1931, a date chosen to coincide with the festival of Our Lady of Aparecida, the patron saint of Brazil. The city of Rio de Janeiro was filled with excitement and anticipation. This was more than just the completion of a construction project. It was the birth of a new national symbol. People from all over Brazil and the world gathered to witness the historic event. The original plan for the inauguration was incredibly ambitious and futuristic for its time. The idea was to have the statue's new lighting system turned on remotely by the inventor of the radio, Guglielmo Marconi. The plan was for Marconi to send a shortwave radio signal from his yacht in Naples, Italy. This signal would travel over 9,200 kilometers across the Atlantic Ocean, where it would be picked up by a receiver in Rio de Janeiro. This receiver would then activate the floodlights, illuminating the statue for the very first time. However, as is often the case with grand plans, technology and weather had other ideas. On the day of the inauguration, the weather conditions were poor, and the atmospheric interference was just too great. The long-distance signal sent by Marconi from Italy was too weak to be received clearly in Brazil. The futuristic dream of an intercontinental inauguration had to be abandoned at the last minute. The organizers had to quickly switch to a backup plan. Instead of a signal from across the ocean, the lights were switched on manually by workers right there at the site on Corcovado. While it may not have been the high-tech spectacle that was planned, the result was no less magical. As darkness fell over Rio, the floodlights blazed to life, and the magnificent figure of Christ the Redeemer was revealed, glowing brightly against the night sky. For the people gathered below, it was a breathtaking sight. The statue was officially complete, a shining beacon of faith and hope watching over their city. From the moment of its inauguration, Christ the Redeemer captured the hearts of the people of Rio and all of Brazil. It quickly became more than just a religious monument. It became a symbol of the city itself, as recognizable as Sugarloaf Mountain or Copacabana Beach. Postcards, photographs, and films spread its image across the country. The statue's open arms seemed to perfectly represent the warm and welcoming nature of the Brazilian people. It was a source of immense national pride, a testament to what the nation could achieve. As travel became easier in the 20th century, the statue's fame began to spread far beyond Brazil's borders. Visitors from around the world made the pilgrimage up Corcovado to stand at its feet and gaze at the stunning panoramic view. The statue appeared in countless movies, documentaries, and travel shows, becoming one of the most famous landmarks on the planet. Its image became a shorthand for Rio de Janeiro, for Brazil, and often for the entire continent of South America. It evolved from a national symbol into a global icon. The ultimate recognition of its global status came in 2007. A worldwide poll was organized by the new Seven Wonders Foundation to choose a new list of the 7 wonders of the world. Millions of people from all over the globe voted for their favorite landmarks. The campaign in Brazil to have Christ the Redeemer included was massive, with corporate sponsors and celebrities encouraging people to vote. The effort paid off. On July 7, 2007, Christ the Redeemer was officially named one of the new 7 wonders of the world. This title cemented its place in history alongside other incredible monuments like the Great Wall of China, the Roman Colosseum, and Machu Picchu. It was a moment of tremendous pride for Brazil. The statue was no longer just a symbol of Christian faith, or Brazilian identity. It was now officially recognized as a shared treasure of humanity, a masterpiece of art and engineering that inspires wonder and awe in people of all cultures and beliefs. Its open arms now seem to embrace the entire world. Christ the Redeemer may look eternal and unchanging, but it is in a constant battle with the forces of nature. Perched on its high mountain throne, it is exposed to extreme weather. The tropical sun beats down on it, torrential rains wash over it, and strong winds buffet its outstretched arms. Most dramatically, it is a frequent target for lightning. The statue is struck by powerful lightning bolts multiple times each year, a testament to the raw power of nature in the tropics. This constant assault requires a never-ending watch to ensure the statue's preservation. Over the years, the statue has undergone several major restorations. One of the most significant took place in 2010. A team of specialists spent months carefully cleaning and repairing the entire structure. They replaced damaged sections of the soapstone mosaic, using tiles sourced from the very same quarry as the originals. They also repaired cracks in the concrete and upgraded the internal waterproofing to protect the statue from moisture damage. This painstaking work is essential to keep the giant in good health. The challenges are ongoing. In 2014, a particularly violent lightning storm damaged the statue, chipping off the tip of one of its thumbs and a part of its head. Repairs had to be made quickly. These incidents highlight the constant vulnerability of the monument. The Archdiocese of Rio de Janeiro, which is responsible for the statue, relies on donations and revenue from tourism to fund this continuous maintenance. Keeping the statue safe and beautiful for future generations is a costly and complex responsibility. Despite the wind, the rain, and the lightning, Christ the Redeemer endures. It stands as a powerful symbol of resilience. The story of its creation was a story of overcoming impossible odds, and its continued existence is a story of enduring against the constant challenges of time and weather. The statue is not a static object. It is a living monument that requires constant care and attention. Its survival is a testament not only to its original builders, but also to the dedicated guardians who watch over it day after day, ensuring that its light continues to